The Fishing News is sponsored by these fine partners.
Roxanne Wilmer, gray fish tag research out of Florida, in town on Monday for the Northeast striped bass study and received her invitation to the Blues.
Holy crap! Look at it! That's a big blue. Look at how fat this thing is. Oh my god! That's a 15-pound.
Oh my goodness! That's all right.
Look at how fat that thing is.
Is that big?
That's a big bluefish.
I'm Jim Hutchinson, New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine, and that is a 17-pound bluefish that Roxanne is holding there with Chuck Manny. We found those jumbo blues just inside Sandy Hook on Monday when it was blowing east, northeast, south. It was whipping all over the place when we got in just around the bend. Beautiful water, some fish exploding, and that big, beautiful humpback. Yes, I didn't burn the spot, he did, because we saw the humpback after we came around and we stopped on the humpback and there were bluefish exploding. These were jumbos, folks. I mean, absolute jumbos. We had that one up to 17 pounds, but I swear we had a 20 pounder broken off at the boat. Lost a lot of tackle, lost a lot of good plugs, lost one of those fancy flutter spoons as well. But we found them. Yes, the Northeast striped bass study. We were successful. Put 2 satellite tags in a couple of big fish. In fact, on Tie Man with Chuck, we put a tag in a 44-inch striped bass. And that was just absolutely beautiful. We had some jumbos. In fact, that wasn't even the biggest one. We put that tag in a 44, and I think we had like a 48 later on, 43, 44-pound fish. Meanwhile, on another boat, Captain Frank Wags of Fin Chasers, he had Bill Doblier of Gray Fish Tag, along with Mike Caruso from the Fisherman. They tagged a 42-incher too. So that was great. So we've got 2 mini PSAT satellite tracking devices in 2 jumbo stripers. Hopefully they're out swimming someplace. We'll check in with them in about 4 or 5 months. But that 44-incher on Tie Man, Bobby Bowden and John Tiedemann from Monmouth University. He was at the controls of the rod and reel, and Roxanne Wilmer there and showing that one off. So a great event. Got to thank all of our national and local sponsors. Terrific support. And of course the national groups and the local clubs who all contributed. I also thank all of you, the readers, who have donated to this Northeast striped bass study. But we had a terrific time out on Monday. We all met at bars. There were 6 boats. Captain Fletcher Chase of Two River Charters was involved. Dave Glassberg, the critter catcher, was there. Captain Howard Owen, he had the Tsunami crew on board. Captain Hans, I believe it was Hans who bought Our Story's Old Sherryberry. In fact, Hans was the high hook of the day with his crew. But sometime next week, we're going to have a full video presentation to show you everything that went into this trip on Monday, all the great success we had, and then I'll have a complete article sometime in the July edition that comes out at the end of the month, at the end of June. But I'll write that whole thing up so you know where we stand. And again, thank you very much. But satellite tagging done out there on these jumbo stripers. And it's a good time to find more of those jumbo stripers. I mean, you see that humpback in there, you know the bunker's around, right? There are plenty of bunker around. And it's not just the humpbacks either. This is from the Not Something You See Every Day department. Last Thursday, I got a call from my buddy Bob Misak, field editor here at the Fisherman magazine. He's like, dude, he's so excited. You're not going to believe this video. And as soon as he posted it, it went completely viral. A shark had chased bunker in obviously across the bar, mid-island, LBI, and was feasting on bunker in the slough. Must have become disoriented a little bit. Sped up right at Bob's feet. He was able to catch those pictures and whip that tail around and kick back off again. That there, my friends, is a thresher feeding at the bar.
A what?
It's a thresher, not a thrasher. Saw thrasher shark reported at Facebook. It is a thresher shark, and those threshers use that giant whip tail to smash through bait schools like bunker. That's why we're at the time of year now where if you're going to find bunker pods off the beach, hopefully you'll find some bass exploding on them. Hopefully you'll see some of those humpbacks because it's just beautiful. But you'll see that sickle tail racing through the bunker school. And what they'll do is they'll disorient and they'll cripple those bunker and then come back in. They have a pretty small mouth when you compare it to makos and great whites. But they'll come back in and pick up those crippled bunker baits and feed on them. So obviously this fish got in the wash chasing bunker, became a little disoriented, but headed east, went offshore. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what my buddy Manny Butera saw in Cape May County a couple of weeks back. He saw that sickle tail. And we talked about it last week. Jeff Merrill got spooled by what he thought was a sea monster, probably a thresher shark. In fact, Kevin Weaver let me know they were on Sunday's Magic Hour striper trip aboard Parker Pete. They had a surprise visitor, a 58-inch, 150-pound thresher, tail hooked on a bunker spoon. Took 3 of the guys 45 minutes fighting that on 50-pound striper tackle before they were able to get that aboard. Kevin said Captain Danny Constantino did an extraordinary job manning Parker Pete to manage that thresher shark on board. So congratulations there. Oh, by the way, Bob Misak, wasn't just that thresher that gave him the excitement. A little later on after that, his wife Sue outfished him, released this jumbo striped bass, a beautiful fish. So expect to see more of those threshers, those bunker, and hopefully some of those striped bass in close, because we are in that time of year, this transition to summer, but we should have some extraordinary striper fishing for the next couple of weeks. And it's not just the north. You know, a lot of times we talk Ocean and Monmouth County, but South Jersey as well. In fact, George Bucci let me know on Friday he was enjoying a stretch of Cape May County beach all to himself Friday morning. Sun was just coming up. It's not heavy surf, beautiful conditions, plugging up this beautiful striped bass. Nobody else on the beach except the jogger. He said a woman was jogging by him when he had this fish on. He said, well, take my picture. Isn't that great? It's beautiful. Let's stay down there in Cape May County for a moment or two, shall we? Because down in the Delaware Bay region, throughout that stretch, whether you're on the Cape May side or over in Lewis along the Delaware Bay shore, the black drum bite is phenomenal. But I have to ask, man, we have like 200 people now entered in the Black Drum Battle. Free entries at blackdrumbattle.com. I have not seen any significant entries in the Black Drum Battle yet. We're giving away a $2,200 Penn prize package that includes a trip aboard Full Ahead Sport Fishing with Captain Bob Cope. If you're going drumming this weekend, wherever you're going fishing for drum this weekend, go to blackdrumbattle.com first. Blackdrumbattle.com. Enter for free so that you're registered in the tournament. That way, when you bring a drum in that you plan to take to the table, bring it into one of the local tackle shops. If you're down in Cape May, you bring it into Hand 2 Bait and Tackle, or you bring it into Jim's Bait and Tackle. Find that weigh slip. Fill in that weigh slip. Send it on to me. If you are a Fisherman subscriber, don't worry about signing up. You're already signed up. As a paid Fisherman subscriber, send in that weigh slip, because if you win the tournament as a paid subscriber, you're also going to get $500 cash. As a Fisherman subscriber, don't forget about the Dreamboat Fishing Challenge either. We were talking about, I'd love to see some Fluke entered in the tournament. Well, lo and behold, we got a Fluke entry from New Jersey, seems to be on the way from Raritan Bay. Richard Donato of Kearney. He boated this 8-pounder over the weekend in Sandy Hook Channel using Fisherman's Choice scented squid strip and achille. That one was checked into the tackle box. Phil emailed me. He let me know. He goes, Richard's in the tournament. That slip should be coming your way. So we'll be looking on the leaderboard for that. Not the only good fish that I heard of in the Sandy Hook area as well. Michael Kristoff, he showed off this 23-incher for me. He snared this on the opener Saturday off Sandy Hook. So that's good news. Especially since I talked about the back bays and rivers last week with such confidence. I'll be honest with you. I caught nothing but shorts in Great Bay on Saturday morning, and I was all over the place. I was in the thin water, I was over near Cape Horn, I was out in Little Lake Harbor, a bunch of different places. I wasn't the only one. Talked to a couple of people who said they felt that the water temperature needs to go up a little bit, spur those fluke into moving around a little bit, and also maybe after the full moon, that entry of more water back and forth, a little bit more flow. Maybe that'll turn the back bay summer flounder bite on in that particular area, but I spent a lot of time trying to get away from the snodgrass. I did bump into Paul LaRosa recently at Shooters in Tuckerton, who he had told me that his wife, Shay, they were out together, and I guess either in Tuckerton Bay or Great Bay, but he had an 18-incher, Shay here, 6.6 pounds, 6.5-pounder, outfished him. That's why I was thinking, I got to get my wife on board because she's always outfishing me. Maybe that's my problem. I'm a big fan of gulp and fish bites, the Fight Club baits. You might say I'm an addict, as you saw last week. But I'm also a big proponent of the Finessence Cheddar oil soaked in some of my squid strips. I'll cut down some squid strips, put them in a Ziploc bag, load it with Finessence, keep that in the freezer from trip to trip. So that usually works. Also, can't discount live bait. Always go back to the old school, the live killie. And if you're looking for some jumbos down in South Jersey, you might consider moving along to some jumbo spot. Dave at Absecon Bay Sportsman Center, he's keeping them in the pen. And I'll tell you, striped bass and jumbo fluke, they love those live spot. In our South Jersey reports this week, Anthony Califano, our field editor from Atlantic and Cape May County, he said Dan at Fanatics in Ocean City, he said the sea bass fishing was fantastic last week at Atlantic City Reef. In terms of the summer flounder fishing in the Great Bay area, the Great Egg area, they said that the outgoing tide was the best over the weekend with live minnows and gulp. Debbie down at Grassy Sound Marina in North Wildwood, she said a lot of the customers she had were finding some good action right there, not far from the marina in Grassy Sound. Also told us that the ratio was pretty good overall in terms of keepers to throwbacks, as opposed to mine throwback to keeper. But she said a lot of good action for keepers in that Grassy Sound area. In fact, in their opening day fluke tournament over the weekend, she had 6 fish over 3 pounds entered into the tournament. But it was Anthony Panvini who walked away with top honors, and a $100 gift card for his 4-pound, 10-ounce flatty. Again, much of the Cape May fleet at this point, it seems like they ignore the summer flounder opportunities because they're turned on to that black drum bite. It's the same thing we're finding out when we check in with the folks at Lewis Harbor Marina in Lewis, Delaware. And we spoke to Steve at Smith Tackle in Leipzig. He said black drum are available from the coral beds off of Slaughter Beach. Clams, the top bait, of course. They're also reporting some weakfish in there along the Delaware Bay stretch too. They've been taking some clams, bloodworms, and gulp baits overall. Overall, weakfish has been really a surprise this season. Folks that are actually gunning for weakfish are doing a pretty good job. I spoke with Matt Broderick. He's our Long Island edition editor. He said their bite up in Long Island Sound is fantastic. Also checked in with Captain Brett Taylor of Real Reaction Sport Fishing. He's a member of the Beach Haven Charter Fishing Association, but he had a charter this past week with Aaron Edelman and crew. They got into a nice little pocket of weakfish someplace. They had 5 keepers to 6 pounds, plus they released another 34. Great sign. Sometimes you just have to get off the beaten track. Find yourself a nice quiet area. Although my man Pedro Ildefonso, he fishes in those well-trafficked areas up there in the shade of Lady Liberty, but he had a keeper weakfish just last week. Pedro's always getting on some kind of good action, whether it's the striped bass, the perch during the winter, or now those weakfish. So heading into this Memorial Day weekend, you have a lot of options throughout the New Jersey, Delaware Bay region to focus on. So whether you say fluke in North Jersey or flounder in South Jersey, the action seems to be getting ready to turn on. Fish to be had in the channels, along the flats, also out along the beaches and jetties. In fact, the top fish that won the tournament for the Manasquan Fishing Club in the Governor's Cup on Sunday. It was a fluke in the wash at Island Beach State Park. Top fish was a bluefish, but the kids from Manasquan, they took it all because of an outstanding fluke catch. So yeah, there's fluke in the wash as well right now. And while I didn't have such a great time working my stretch of Back Bay, I do know the folks on the keeper. A lot of folks on the keeper out of Margate on the opening day. They found a nice batch of fish. A lot of throwbacks, but they also had some keepers as well. Don't forget about those monster drum in Delaware Bay. They're also out along the beaches in some areas as well. Continue to get some decent drum reports in the Absecon Inlet area, both on the Atlantic City side, but also Andy at Riptide Bait and Tackle says there's more drum in the wash there, and they've been like a striped bass epicenter for much of the spring. An incredible bite there. It might be worthwhile, though, to anchor up in some of those holes somewhere along some mussel beds or clam beds, some quieter locations this weekend with a bushel of clams. If you're thinking Little Egg, Great Bay, look for some of those black drum, and don't forget to go to Black Drum Battle. Again, the weakfish, could be time to sneak out at night under the lights. Bridge lights, dock lights, throw in some of those pink finesse or the pink zooms for some of those weakfish that are around. Slot-sized stripers out back along the sedges, getting some reports from folks throwing northeast paddle tails, throwing some kettle creeks, some topwaters as well. So some good striped bass out along the back sedges, but also we're getting some better reports throughout the range, Cape May, Atlantic, Ocean, and Monmouth County as those fish are gobbling up clams in the wash, but now starting to chase bunker around a little bit as well. So the bunker chunks are working, but if you happen to be heading out with a family for the Memorial Day weekend to do some beach time, take that outfit, take that the plug-in outfit, bring a plug bag filled with the SP minnows, the standards, the bombers, but also take along those top waters, your poppers, your pencils, and your Polaris style, and put some swim shads in there as well, because you never know when those stripers are going to pop up over the bar. Same thing as that thresher did before. You have those monster stripers, Monmouth County, all along the Sandy Hook stretch, inside Raritan Bay. That action continues. And again, whether you're dragging the Maja spoons or the Mojos, you can get them that way. But I expect to find that top water bite to materialize in the next few days, hopefully in time for us, for the Manhattan Cup, which is open, which that tournament goes on next Friday out of Jersey City. The head boats in New Jersey are fishing wide open for black sea bass no matter where you go. And of course, you've got that sea bass season that's open in Delaware as well. But here in New Jersey, we've got that 10 fish bag limit, 12.5-inch size limit. That goes on through June 22nd. So get yourself to a party boat. Get on there and get on the biscuits while their biscuit getting is good. I know the Jamaica 2 was out earlier this week. They were out on Tuesday. She said the majority of the anglers that were lined on the rails had limit catches of black sea bass on that boat. Also got into some ling and winter flounder as well. And of course, we're in an exciting time at this point, returning to normalcy, so to speak. Governor Murphy with a big announcement here in the state of New Jersey this week. The Gators, we can put them in our pocket now. We don't have to wear those masks. If you do, I mean, you can if you feel more comfortable, but we don't have to wear the masks as of this weekend. So my gator now goes back to being my block to keep the gnats out of my nose, off my lips, and of course back to the original purpose, which was to keep the sun off of our skin. That's the official word here in New Jersey. For more on the Pennsylvania action and what's going on there, let's check in with my friend George, the Pocono Outdoors guy.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. You know, it looks like it's going to be a really great weekend here in the Poconos. Talking about some pretty decent weather. Friday and Saturday, a little bit iffy, but Sunday and Monday, clear skies and sunshine. So it should be a great time to get out and do a little fishing. Now, as far as the fishing goes, I know I'm going to be heading out to the Delaware River this weekend myself with Tim Keebler. I checked in with Tim today. He said the striper bite is really on, although the temperatures are starting to creep up into the 70s a little bit, and those fish are starting to get a little bit sluggish. But we got some cooler temperatures coming, and I think a little bit of that rain will also help bring that river levels up maybe a little bit, but also cool them down some. So that striper bite should get only better. Now, he says that the fish have been doing really good. He's been getting a couple dozen each trip out, so that's some really good numbers. And they've been working on some top waters and some jigs with the trailer combo and getting into some really nice fish. So I can't wait to get out there and get on them myself. Now, I hope you guys get on them too. There's lots of things you can do. Crowds are going to be tough, so try to avoid that. Get into a nice quiet stream, find yourself a little pond somewhere and do some fishing. There's always the bluegill, there's the bass. Smallmouth are on fire right now, but get out and enjoy the weekend. From Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
So we go to print with the June edition of the Fisherman magazine this Sunday, and in the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition, I've got a great article coming from George, the Pocono Outdoors guy, Shower. It's all about fishing for those line sides in Beltsville. It's a great edition, great article. Look for it next week. It's got a giant bluefin tuna on the cover. You'll find it in local shops sometime next week. When you open up the magazine, you might find that we're a couple of things missing in there. First of all, we'll be at least one report short. The Carolyn Ann 3 out of Barnegat Light, one of my favorite boats, fished on it a few times over the years. She's gone. The Hammerstrom family, Captain Will, sister Gina, they built that boat from the ground up in their family's yard many years ago. They've been fishing out of Barnegat Light for a long time. They cite one of the reasons for getting out of the game, regulations. Same thing we found years ago with the Doris May. I also heard that Captain Rob is retiring and selling his party boat, the Sea Hunter, out of Atlantic Highlands, not until the end of the season. So if you haven't had a chance to fish with him for Fluke in a while, jump on board. But I believe that boat is heading south to the Carolinas when the season is done. And of course, earlier this year, we talked about the Porgy 4 out of Cape May. That boat is gone. So, I mean, when I look at the fishing reports from the Fisherman magazine going back 15 years ago, 2006, it was about, 7 months before the Magnuson-Stevenson Act, the federal fisheries law was gutted and started really doing a number on us. We had so many boats in the state of New Jersey. Geez, with the Carolyn Ann 3 leaving Barnegat Light, There must have been 13, 15 boats in Barnegat Light when I grew up on that island. Now there's 2 party boats servicing an 18-mile-long barrier island, the Miss Beach Haven and the Miss Barnegat Light. We're losing boats left and right. Tackle shops closed, they never come back. And yet, you know what I see this week? Noah Fisheries has a new professionally produced video series espousing their views about how great recreational fishing is and how great Noah Fisheries is doing for our recreational fishing community. Do you guys at Noah Fishery read anything except what you do? Do you read newspapers? Do you read the Fisherman magazine? Are you watching this video forecast? We're losing boats left and right, and you've got a video piece using taxpayer dollars for some slickly produced thing with a voiceover. Oh, we're Noah Fisheries. We're doing a great job. Get your head out of your waders. Doing a good job. Make sure you go over and take a look at that video series, because in a month it's been seen by like 230 people, and now it's being peppered by porno comments. Way to go, Noah. Go over there, take a look at the video, provide your own comments to Noah Fisheries, and let them know about the bang-up job they're doing for our recreational fishing community. Excuse me. Hey, take a moment this weekend to remember what the 3-day holiday is all about. It's Memorial Day weekend. Monday, Memorial Day, take a break, take an opportunity to think of those who sacrificed everything for this great country. Memorial Day is all about those veterans who gave their life in service to the greatest country on the face of the planet. So I wish those families my condolences and my appreciation and my prayers. And for all the veterans who served this great country of ours, thank you. God bless you. And God bless all of you anglers this holiday weekend. Catch them up. I hope you have a wonderful time. I'll see you here next week at thefisherman.com. Say goodbye, Chuck.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.